Good morning. You know what you guys look like to me? You look like a bunch of crocuses, because I've been looking around the neighborhood. I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's crazy. It's like a crocus invasion. Everywhere I look, I see the crocuses bursting out of the ground. In my backyard, I was picking up some leaves, and the crocuses were there. It's just amazing. They're coming up everywhere. It's early February. Don't they realize it's not spring yet? They're coming up, and I love it. I love it. They're bursting out of the ground. They're ready to get back to life, just like us, just like us. I think those crocuses are a good model to follow. After hibernating, oh gosh, it's been so long. This pandemic has been so hard. We haven't had the opportunity to gather as community as much. And so it's time for us crocuses to burst out of the ground colorfully and be happy to be alive, to be happy to be in community. It's so good to see you. If you're watching this online and you can't get here, I'm so happy that we can transmit to you and you can watch the service at home. But if you're watching the service at home and you're a little nervous about coming, come on down, please, please. I don't want to see any more empty chairs here on Sunday mornings. I'm sure happy to see the ones that are filled, though. And I wondered if you would just take a moment to greet one another. I know we're still wearing masks, but I would like to help rebuild community again. So let's take a moment to just sort of stand up and walk around and greet one another and say hi. It's time. You folks are so wonderful to show up today. I love seeing you here. I love seeing community coming back. Encourage your friends. Encourage everybody to start coming back. Pretty soon we'll have our social hour back after the service, and we can mix and mingle. But this is the beginning of really rebuilding our community back. We're starting back, and I'm so happy. And I'm so grateful for the crocuses who burst out of the ground. You lovely people. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Our gathering hymn is number 181, No Matter If You Live Now, Far or Near. No matter if you live now far or near, no matter what your weakness or your strength, there is not one alive we count outside, made
When I listen to my heart, I can hear you whisper, asking me laughingly to come and follow you. Here I am. Did I hear you call my name? Here I am, as you will. Speak, my God, I am ready to begin. Here I am, I come to follow you. I've traveled long and far to follow you, a stranger and a pilgrim in this world. Sometimes I wonder what this journey will bring, and you guide me faithfully to find a home in you. Here I am. Did I hear you call my name? Here I am, as you will. Speak, my God, I am ready to begin. Here I am, I come to follow you. My heart sings of the love that I found in you, a love that dwells in all of creation. Sometimes I wonder what tomorrow brings. Give me the grace to love and to be faithful, to be more like you. Here I am. Did I hear you call my name? Here I am, as you will. Speak, my God, I am ready to begin. Here I am, I come to follow you.
Good morning. Each of us is on our own journey, our own spiritual quest. Some have traveled pretty darn far. Some are just beginning. Some have taken side roads or rarely used paths, obscure trails. Some have stayed on the well-worn lanes and the avenues. Whatever path brought you here, you're now a part of this community. So please join me in saying our affirmation. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration. Build a community of caring fellowship. Nurture the hopes and serve the needs of our world. Whether planning our future or looking back at our past, we need light to see our way. For Unitarian Universalists, the lighting of our chalice, whenever we gather, symbolizes the need to bring light into our lives and into the lives of others, to share the warmth of community and welcome everyone to join in our search for truth and meaning. Here at UUCS, it's our tradition to light 3 chalices. The first is for our congregation and everyone joining us through technology and everyone here today with us. The second is for our partner church in Šimanvalva, Transylvania, Romania. And the third is for our children and youth, whom we task with carrying this light into the future. We will now sing the flame into life.
Let's center ourselves now and be in this moment, be in this time, and be in this place. We feel the deeper rhythms of our life, the deeper, truer rhythms that we too often ignore. And so here we are now, tuning our hearts to the deeper rhythms. We live in a time of great fear and uncertainty. It's a time when fear manifests as anger. Fear, anger becomes hatred. This is a time when harsh pronouncements, cancellations are the norm, and forgiveness and forbearance are lost virtues. In such a harsh world, we often find ourselves. And so we gather as a spiritual community to center ourselves, to ground ourselves, to become aware of all the suffering within us and around us. And being thus aware, we become more compassionate. As we look at ourselves, as we look at those around us, let us remember to look through the lenses of compassion at all people. For compassion is our way. And gratitude. Think of those people in your life who you love, who love you. Think of all those whose many efforts and labor benefits you. Think of all that blesses you, all of it that blesses you from day to day. Your loved ones, your friends, the material blessings, the natural world, the arts, the grandeur and the beauty of this life. Be aware of all that blesses us from day to day. And thinking of these blessings, gratitude arises in the heart like a bright sun. The sun of gratitude shines its rays upon us. May these rays of gratitude that arise in our heart shine upon us and guide us. For gratitude is our way. Compassion and gratitude.
I am Jackie Klimowitz, and I'm a member of Lifeline's Lay Ministry. And we're a group of people that assist Rick with people that have concerns or joys. And there's 3 ways you can contact us. One of them is to send it to Lifeline's Lay Ministry at UUCS.org. Or when you register, there's a place where you can write joys and concerns, and we can read them here. Or if you're in person, you can come and sign in the book and write it down, and then we'll read it. Our first sorrow is by Leslie Zigan. Camille Sloan is only 52 years old, and she has brain cancer and is in hospice. Please send warming thoughts, and if you pray, prayers to her. The next one is from Lorraine Stewart. And Lorraine Stewart has been our pianist for years and years and years. And she has a grandson, Richie. He's having an operation on February 10th for a brain tumor. He is 34 years old and in good overall health despite this seemingly aggressive tumor. Please send out a prayer, thought, or healing energy his way. And that was written by Mary Kennedy. Thank you, Mary, for letting us know. And then we have some joys. This one is from Claudia and Jim Ferguson. Our grandson, Chase, has signed to attend Massachusetts Institute of Technology and play football, being a quarterback. It also helped that he had a perfect score of 600 on his math SATs and the highest possible ACT composite score of 36. This is a special joy for him and the entire family. Congratulations. George Struble wrote, Friday was a lucky day for digging out invasive blackberries in Bateman Woods. We need to do this, we need to do that. Keith eradicated the blackberries before we built our church. More diggings needed to honor his legacy. Thank you, George. And Alan Holland wrote, Happy birthday, Valentine's Day for the state of Oregon. And Joel and Carolyn Woodman, what a joy that the celebration of life was for Carol Manka, amazing person who touched so many. Good to hear the love story she shared with her and Paul. Thank you. We have compassionate connections, and that's if you have something to share that is just wonderful, or if you're hurting and need some extra support. It's going to be right after the service, and just meet right down here, and we usually go to the minister's office. And that's a time where Rick and the Lifelines people are there to support you. And so, thank you very much.
The pastoral hymn is number 302, Children of the Human Race.
Children of the human race, offspring of our Mother Earth, not alone in endless space has our planet given birth. Far across the cosmic skies, countless suns in glory blaze, and from untold planets rise endless canticles of praise. Should some sign of others reach this our lonely planet Earth, differences of form and speech must not hide our common worth. When at length our
I've learned that no matter what happens or how bad it seems today, life goes on, and it will be better tomorrow. I've learned that you can tell a lot about a person by how he or she handles these three things: a rainy day, lost luggage, and tangled Christmas tree lights. I've learned that regardless of your relationship with your parents, you'll miss them when they're gone from your life. I've learned that making a living is not the same thing as making a life. I've learned that sometimes life gives you a second chance. I've learned that you shouldn't go through life with a catcher's mitt on both hands. You need to be able to throw something back. I've learned that whenever I decide something with an open heart, I usually make the right decision. I've learned that even when I have pains, I don't have to be one. I've learned that every day you should reach out and touch someone. People love a warm hug or just a friendly pat on the back. I've learned that I still have a lot to learn. I've learned that people will forget what you've said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.
Thank you, Janet. And thank you, Marcia and Barbara and everybody and also Lori Ann, our new pianist. You were here last Sunday, I believe, and I wasn't. So anyway, welcome aboard, Lori Ann. It sure is good to have you over there tickling the ivory. We do appreciate it. So, you know, it's no secret, at least among full-time clergy who have many demands upon their time, that officiating at weddings is generally regarded as maybe not the favorite part of the job, kind of an irksome part of the job. Some of my colleagues that I've talked to over the years, they don't like officiating at weddings because couples come with their own ideas about the ceremony, and this may run counter to what this clergy person thinks is theologically or logistically appropriate. Others seem not to just like all the bother and the fuss that it takes. And in general, especially when you get calls from outside the congregation for people who are looking for somebody to officiate, the tendency among ministers I have known is to see if they can find some other minister to do this. And I don't fault other clergy for this at all. These people do other good things. We all have to make choices. We can't do it all. But in this regard, I'm different, not better, but I'm different than the ministers I know who feel this way, and not all ministers do, but most of my colleagues seem to when I connected with them and we would talk about it. But I like helping folks tie the knot. It's been something I have found pretty fulfilling for a number of reasons. First of all, I've met amazing couples over the years, amazing couples, same-sex and heterosex. I've met so many people, different religious traditions, all people from all over the world, too. I've met some incredible people. I've not once, I've done a lot of weddings, too, never had a bridezilla. Still waiting, and I think that's a myth. I haven't run into a bridezilla. I haven't had any nightmarish challenges. We've had a little bumps in the road, but not nightmarish challenges. Whether the wedding was for a financially strapped couple with just a couple of witnesses on hand, or if it was a lavish affair with hundreds in attendance, they've all been good. They have. My feelings of appreciation for the honor of officiating at weddings often comes into sharpest spiritual focus just before the ceremony is about to begin. And I look over at, I look at the couple, I look at the parents and the grandparents if they're there, and the family and the friends, all the friends who've gathered from near and far. And I can see that these people, some of them, they haven't seen each other since they graduated or moved on to other jobs. I see them greet one another and hug and laugh. It's a reunion for many of them. And everybody knows this is a time that is precious. It's dedicated to celebrating the love that binds us to one another. And by common consent, everybody understands this is a day for love, for joy. And most of the people there are strangers to me. I've never met them, except right then, that day. They're strangers to me, and I've never met them. And yet, I know them quite well. I know them quite well, because love and friendship are universal, and I see myself in them and them in me. And by the time the couple stands before me to exchange their vows, we've also gotten to know one another fairly well. And I care for them. I do. I care for them, and I'm really wishing the best for them on this day and on every day. I'd like to set a happy, joyful tone rather than being dearly beloved, we're gathered here kind of stuff. I like to be more relaxed and make it fun. I hear laughter. I see tears of joy. I know these strangers very well. That is, I know the human heart, and it's a good one, and it's a good one. That is, the human heart is good when it's not diseased by greed and hatred and delusion, in which case some remedial spiritual work would be a good idea. But the human heart is basically a good one. In short, I like doing weddings because it gives me a unique opportunity to be of service. I get to be of service to them, and I feel the same way about other rites of passage, especially memorial services. I stood here just yesterday as we said goodbye to Carol Manka, a beautiful person. Regarding weddings, as a Unitarian Universalist minister, I have all kinds of flexibility in working with the couples, so I'm not particularly attached to doing it a certain way, and we talk together and we work it out. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of flexibility. Mostly I want for the couple to have a wonderful ceremony. I want them to be happy. I want everybody present to feel the love and be happy at this time. The Buddhists have a name for this natural spiritual state of mind, this desire for other people to feel good. And you're not even in the equation. You just like seeing other people be happy. You just like making other people feel happy and laugh and smile. And the Buddhists call this feeling mudita. Mudita. It's a Sanskrit word. It means sympathetic or vicarious joy, or the pleasure that comes from taking delight in other people's well-being. Mudita, it's a great word. It'll eventually immigrate into the English language. That's how the English language works. We keep using a word, and pretty soon it has a home here. And I love that word, mudita, taking joy in other people's well-being. Mudita is pure joy, unadulterated by self-interest. It's a sublime state of mind, and every one of us can feel it. I'm not bragging about feeling it. I'm just saying that's how I feel when I do those weddings. You know, our closing words, which we'll say in about 30 or 40 minutes. Our closing words, the ones that we say at the end of our worship service every week, remind me to practice mudita. Every Sunday we affirm that we have love for the sacred in one another. We say, may love for the sacred in one another. We say it week after week. We don't say love for the sacred in those whom we know and like, and those who think like us, and those who belong to our tribe. These words, love for the sacred in one another, are actually a radical invocation towards universal love, towards all other people. May love for the sacred in one another. When you say that, wow, that's actually a very powerful thing to say. That's how I love these folks at the wedding party that I've never met. Mudita, in the Buddhist tradition, they call it one of the primary divine abodes. That's where, if your mind's there, you're doing really good. You're doing okay. It's a divine abode. And you can easily find recognition of this sublime sentiment in all the major religious traditions, although they may use other words to describe it. Because universal spiritual states of consciousness are not the exclusive domain of any one religious tradition. So, to sum it up, figuratively, not literally speaking, I do my best to turn water into the wine that brings good cheer at the wedding feast. Does that sound like a familiar reference to you? According to the Gospel of John, Jesus' first miracle was to turn water into wine at a wedding feast in the village of Cana in Galilee. So here's how it happened. The scripture is actually very precise about how they describe it. They said that Jesus commanded that 6 stone vessels be filled with water. How much water? 150 gallons. 150 gallons of water. And then Jesus turned it all into wine, the best tasting wine. That must have been some wedding. And he did this after everybody had already had the first batch of wine that was on hand, so I can't imagine. Jesus was accused by his detractors of being, he's nothing but he's a glutton and a wine bibber. He's a friend of tax collectors and sinners. That's how the uptight moral prigs viewed him. But I think that Jesus just loved people. He loved being with people. Especially, Jesus loved the ones that nobody else loved. And that example pierces my spiritual heart. When I read in the scripture that Jesus said, whatsoever you do unto the least of these, you did it to me. That really, to me, that is another way of saying love for the sacred in one another. It's just that recognition, that profound recognition. To me, that's the heart of the Christian message, and it really pierces my heart. Jesus is a mystery, shrouded in the mists of time. He's a figure beyond our knowing, yet not beyond our imagining. And I think imagination is important. Go with that sometimes. Trust your imaginative instincts. And so in my imagination, I think of Jesus as the supreme example of what is known in the Hindu tradition as a bhakti yoga. A bhakti yoga. I think maybe Jesus was a bhakti yoga. That is one whose primary path and focus is on love for the sacred in other people. My best guesstimate of who I am, and I wouldn't have said this for quite a number of years because I didn't really see it, but you put the pieces of the puzzle together and you kind of figure out who you are over time. And my best guesstimate of who I am is that I am primarily a bhakti yoga, although nothing of Jesus' caliber. Now, this might sound foreign or exotic to you, but it's not. It's not. I think that broadly conceived, we're all yogis of one sort or another. In the ancient Sanskrit, yoga means union. That's what that word means, yoga. That's where you get words like yoke. It yokes two things together. Yoga simply means union, as in the seeker, union of the seeker with the sacred. In that sense, I think we're all seekers. It's been said we're called Homo sapiens because we're thinking beings, but we're also Homo religiosus. We're religious beings. We naturally seek to understand, to follow the yearnings of our heart that lead us to seek to align ourselves with the highest and holiest truths we know. I think that this means that we're all, each of us in our own, sometimes clumsy, wandering, confused, but determined ways, I think that we're all in our own way seeking union with higher truth. And in that larger sense, we're all yogis on the path. So when I call myself a bhakti yoga, I know that there are some other bhakti yogas out there too. It's nothing particularly strange or exotic. But we're all yogis, I think, the way I'm defining it. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Gesundheit. Here's the kicker. We're all yogis, but we're not all the same kind of yogis. And thank goodness for that, because we need all types. We absolutely need all types. We need the mystics and the contemplatives. Those are the Raja Yogas. We need the lovers. You've got to have the lovers, the bhakti yogas. We need the thinkers, the real serious thinkers, the jnana yogis. And we need, without the karma yogis, the doers, everything, well, this place wouldn't be here. We need the karma yogis. The ancient Hindu tradition says that we yogis come in these four basic flavors. And most of us are a mixture of one, or mixtures of more than one. Like I'm bhakti, but I have some raja and maybe a little bit of jnana and some karma, but mostly I think that that's who I am. And I think that most of us are probably mixtures of these things, but we have a particular leaning, a stronger leaning in a particular direction. There is biblical evidence indicating that you could make a good case. Jesus was a bhakti yoga, a sublime embodiment of what is known as agape love. There are three types of love that are defined by the ancient Greeks: eros for your partner, philios for your friends, and agape love is the universal love that we all feel. And I think that Jesus was a sublime embodiment of agape love. But maybe I'm wrong about this, because there's also quite a bit of biblical evidence that Jesus might primarily have been a Raja yogi, somebody who follows the path of contemplation and mysticism and ecstatic union with the sacred. After all, there are a number of instances in the Scripture, 38 of them, and there's not that much of the New Testament, the Gospels, the four Gospels. 38 times in the Gospels, Jesus leaves the crowd to go off completely by himself to pray, maybe to meditate, who knows what. But he had maybe a very strong mystical dimension. Maybe that's why he was there's a lot of speculation that Jesus was an introvert because he was always running off to be by himself too. We always think of him with people, but 38 times he goes off by himself. So maybe Jesus was a Raja yoga. That's what I used to imagine that I was, because as you know, I meditate, I ground myself in a meditation practice, and that's kind of what I wanted to be. That's who I thought I was. That seemed the noblest and the best, the Raja yoga. And in fact, they're all the same. They all come from the same source and lead to the same source. You don't want to rank the yogis and say one's better than another. And I've realized that. I don't think that's a good way to think. But I thought I was a Raja Yoga because I do ground myself in a daily meditation practice, but I'm not a monastic who has dedicated his life to meditation and prayer and contemplation. My hour or so of daily meditation, I do 2 30-minute periods in the morning, sometimes more in the evening, but it does help spiritually ground me, and it awakens my compassion. When you meditate more, you become a more compassionate person because you're a little more centered and grounded, but it awakens my bhakti yoga awareness. I really don't think I'm a Raja Yoga. I'm not meditating off in some Himalayan cave for years at a time. But Jesus, maybe I'm wrong about the Raja Yoga thing too. Jesus had a sharp wit and a penetrating mind which enabled him to outwit the most learned religious leaders in his society. When he went face to face, his insight was stronger and deeper. So, perhaps Jesus was more of a Jnana yogi, one who uses the mind, the intellect to find meaning. Jnana yoga, these are the scholars and the philosophers and the thinkers who find their path through the use of the intellect. You feel a strong draw to use the mind. You're a philosopher, a natural philosopher. Maybe you're a Jnana yoga. Of course, somebody who reads the scriptures, the Bible, could point out Jesus was actually a carpenter by trade. So who knows, maybe he had a strong karma yoga side to his character. I could imagine him showing up at a barn raising and lending a hand, because he was a doer and he didn't mind getting his hands dirty. Those are the karma yogis among us, the ones who prefer the path of direct action, who get out there in the world and do good things for the benefit of us all. I know a number of karma yogis in the congregation. They don't like too many committee meetings. They like to get out there and be doing the stuff. Those are the karma yogis, and thank goodness for them. Now, I've been speculating. About Jesus, scholars who study the life of Jesus will tell you this is all speculative. It's speculative. There's no way that we could say with certainty who the human Jesus was, whether he was more of a bhakti or Raja or a Jnana or a karma yogi, or maybe he was something altogether different, a transcendent blend of all four of them and more. I don't know. It's speculative. But you might, in fact, I think you could. I think a person could. You could be able to discern with some degree of certainty the path that is a natural expression of who you are, a path that's suited for your temperament, your personal characteristics, your predilections and passions. And I think it's worth it to think about it and figure out who you are, who you are. In ancient Greece, when you went into the Delphic temple, Socrates amplified this saying, and it simply says, know thyself, know thyself. It's a lifelong quest. And in some sense, you can't really know yourself any more than an eyeball can see itself, but there's a way that we can know ourselves by observing ourselves as we live day by day. And you can learn what brings you a sense of fulfillment. What is your passion? My way of thinking about this, of how do you know yourself? I think it's the best way is to listen. Is to listen to your heart's song. Listen to your heart's song. Your heart has a song. A unique song that comes from within you. It's maybe similar to other songs, but it's your song. It's your heart song. And when you know your heart's song, you know it, and it brings you to life, and you know you're singing the right song for being who you are. And when you know your own heart's song, and when you know yourself, there's a great liberation because you can stop trying to be somebody that you're not and accept who you are, because it's a gift to be who you are, and you can build on your inherent strengths which promote your own growth and strengths which serve the common good. Good luck on your journey. Why don't we continue our journey through prayer and meditation? Look within at your heart. What song does your heart sing to you? What path are you being called to walk? Your path, the path that is the one for you. The path of the lover, path of the doer, path of the thinker, the path of the mystic and the knower. Listen to your own heart song as you walk along. Learn how you can apply yourself and be of service. Be of service in this world with your one precious life. Your precious gifts are sorely needed. You are an important person. It's good that you are here. And there are things for you to do that will make a blessing for all of us. May it be so.
This building, sanctuary, the equipment we use for live streaming and for connecting online, all are made possible by the generosity of the members and friends of this congregation. We are a generous people. Each week, we encourage you to support our many ministries, our community, and our neighbors with your donations. This month, we are sharing our good fortune with Marion Polk Food Share. They distribute nutritious food for individuals and families through more than 100 local partners, including food pantries and meal sites, and deliver Meals on Wheels to homebound seniors and adults with disabilities. Those present in the sanctuary are invited to leave your donations in the baskets that are provided in the lobby. If you're joining us online, please go to uusalem.org and follow the prompts to donate. Your generosity is appreciated, and your contributions are gratefully received.
friend who claims us, cools the heat and slows the pace. Silence finds a space to enter, finds our being, touches base, making space within our thinking, lifting shades to show the sun, raising courage when we're shrinking, finding scope for faith begun. In the spirit, let us travel, open to each other's pain. Let our loves and fears unravel, celebrate the love we gain. There's a place for deepest dreaming, there's a place for time to care. In the spirit's lively scheming, there is always room to spare.
I'd like to invite Reverend Rick to bring forward and light the social justice lantern. Each week, we kindle this lantern from our community chalice. And this is to symbolize the sharing of the warmth and the love of this community with the wider world. It's a stubborn lantern sometimes. As we extinguish the flames of our chalices, I hope that you will take the warmth and the love and the light and the wisdom that was shared while they burned here and pass it along to everybody you meet until we are together again.
I was wondering who was next. It was me. We have a lot of moving parts in these Sunday services, and I'm here to draw your attention to the opportunities to participate in the larger life and ministry of this congregation through all the programs that we have. If you see the slide up there, it says that we're going to be continuing to ask you to register for the services, but you can come in on Sunday mornings and you can register as you come in. I think is there another slide after this one I'm supposed to look at? Next Sunday. Next Sunday I'll be in the pulpit and hope to see you beautiful crocuses here. And is there another slide after this one? News of the community, that's the one I'm looking for. There's all sorts of announcements, too many to make from the pulpit, but we really hope you will take the advantage of technology and contact and get in there to our website and see of all the different programs and activities that are coming up in the near future. So I just want to remind you to do that. Thank you.
Our closing hymn is number 118, and it's This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Since we're all standing, let's go ahead and, if you're comfortable with the people next to you, take their hand, or maybe you could touch shoulders, but at least with your heart, reach out to everyone and join me in saying our closing words. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the community of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.